The latest airflow focus case from Phanteks is the successor to the popular P400A. It comes in black and white colour schemes with 4 pre-installed Phanteks M25 140 G2 fans and supports new back connect motherboards, 360mm radiators and huge graphics cards. It features a built-in DRGB LED strip and is compatible with Phanteks NextLink hub for hassle-free fan and lighting control. The G400A is priced at just $84.99 in the UK. There's some pretty fierce competition in this sector currently, so let's see how this one stacks up. So the Phanteks G400A is available to purchase now. It's got an MSRP price of $99.99 US. In the UK, you can pick it up from OverclockersUK priced at $84.99 in either black or white. The Phanteks G400A supports the latest back connect style ATX motherboards, including MSI Project Zero and Asus BTF. It features a clean front intake design, providing focused airflow with ultra fine, high performance mesh at the front, side and top of the case. It comes equipped with 440mm Phanteks M25 Gen2 DRGB fans, 3 as intakes pre-installed in the front panel and 1 rear-mounted exhaust. It also supports large graphics cards, up to 360mm radiators and 320mm fan mounts on top of the power supply shroud for direct GPU cooling. So the Phanteks G400A is a regular ATX style case, power supply at the bottom with storage, motherboard, cooler, and all the other hardware installed at the top with cable management around the right hand side. Front panel connectivity includes 1 USB 3.2 Gen 2 by 2 Type-C port, 2 USB 3 Type-A ports, a combined 3.5mm audio jack for headphones and microphones, and a power and reset button. Getting into the case is pretty simple, so there's 2 thumb screws on the glass side panel. Loosen those off and the glass slides backwards, and then you can just lift it out. It has a mild tint on this black version. The right hand side panel removes in the same way. There's a couple of thumb screws holding it in, and then it just slides backwards and releases. It is a little awkward to release sometimes. It just catches on some of these pegs at the top here, but you can see it is more or less a plain steel side panel. There's no sound dampening material or anything on this steel panel, but there is a large vented section at the bottom to help with airflow in through the sides and up through the power supply shroud for direct GPU cooling. In terms of build quality, it's got a bit of flex to this side panel, which they all do, but it is pretty much just a regular steel side panel. The top mesh can be removed also. So it is an ultra fine mesh top panel. Removing that gives you access to the top fan and radiator mount. This whole steel top panel can also be removed, but there are several screws. There's about 10 or 12 screws in total to remove from that top panel, so it's not a quick job. But if you do need access in from the top, maybe if you need to connect something up to the top of the motherboard, that can be removed. Very similar to the P400A, the front panel is completely mesh. You can remove it pretty easily, so just pull it out from the top, and then the outer mesh panel removes, and then you can see behind that there is a nylon dust filter mounted on a plastic frame. That's removable too, it's just held in place magnetically. Then behind that you can see there are 3 Phanteks M25 140 G2 fans, and this plastic shroud is shaped to optimize airflow into those fans at the front. This plastic panel can also be removed as well. It is just a trim panel over the top of the steel, and you can see it's got contours on that panel to assist airflow into those 140mm front fans. You can see plenty of RGB lighting out of the box. All 4 of the M25 140 G2 fans have full digital RGB effects, and then there is another RGB lighting strip built into the case down at the bottom on the power supply shroud. I think they actually call this a mid plate now rather than a power supply shroud as such. In terms of cooling support, so at the front you've got those 140mm fans. It only supports 3 140mm fans at the front of the case. Technically it doesn't support any radiator installation there. There's not really room with this mid plate and how that's fitted to the case. But up at the top of the case you can install either 3 120 or 340mm fans, or up to a 360mm radiator. In the rear pre-installed is a 140mm fan, but there is a mount there for 140 and 120s. You could install a 120mm radiator in here too. And then on the top of the power supply shroud, or the mid plate I should say, this is a quite heavily ventilated panel. It has mounts there for 320mm fans. It's also got a cutout for the PCI Express or the 12-volt hard power cable. A couple more cutouts on the top of that mid plate for cable management. You'll notice also on the side of the case here, there's another ultra-fine mesh panel there. There's just a single screw that holds that in place. Remove that screw, then that panel slides backwards and is released. It's ultra-fine mesh, so there isn't an additional dust filter behind that. And obviously that's there again to assist airflow in through these side compartments and then up for direct GPU cooling. We'll test what effect that has on system temperatures, graphics card and CPU temperatures later during our testing. Motherboard support is eATX up to 280mm. That also includes ATX, micro ATX and mini ATX. It also supports, you can see all the cutouts there for Back Connect motherboard, so MSI Project Zero and Asus BTF. Maximum graphics card length is up to 415mm long with a maximum width of 184mm. The maximum CPU air cooler height is also 184mm tall. As well as those Back Connect motherboard cutouts, you've got some additional cutouts down the side here with rubber grommets and a couple more up at the top for feeding cables through.
If you're looking for a new chair, then definitely go and check out boolies.co.uk. They offer a whole host of gaming and office chairs that come in a variety of different finishes and different colours.
At the back of the case, it's a pretty standard ATX layout, so there's the 120 and 140mm fan mount, rear I/O cutout for the motherboard, 7 PCIe slots, and then at the bottom is the ATX power supply mount. Spin the case around to this right hand side, you can see the cables come quite neatly managed out of the box. There's a plastic channel with Velcro straps for managing cables. Space between the motherboard tray and the side panel for cable management is about 24mm, which should be just enough for most systems. There's a few extra eyelets for strapping cables down to, or using zip ties to strap cables down. Maximum power supply size is ATX up to 270mm. You can see also underneath the mid plate or the power supply shroud, there is a cage for hard drives. It's held in place with a thumb screw. Just release that thumb screw and it slides out. On here, you can either install two 3.5 or two 2.5 inch drives. You can run a combination of 2.5 and 3.5 inch drives also. You'll notice that that cage isn't adjustable, so you can't move it forwards and backwards to allow for radiators. It is just either fixed in one position, or you can remove it and not use it completely, leave more space for cable management. Not a lot on the floor of the case to talk about, except for 4 plastic feet with anti-vibration rubbers. These are about 30mm tall, so it gives the case some ground clearance for the vent to the power supply, allows airflow into the power supply. You notice there is another removable dust filter on here. Again, it's the nylon type on a plastic frame. And then at the back there is the cutout for a power supply fan. Accessories that come with the case come inside this little cardboard box, and it's just a bag full of assorted screws for installation, some longer screws for mounting fans on the mid plate, and there's a bunch of zip ties in there, more than enough that you'll need for cable management with this case. The test system's up and running. Hardware I've used for the test system, the CPU is an AMD Ryzen 7 7800X3D. The motherboard is the ASRock X870E Nova Wi-Fi. The graphics card I originally wanted to use is this Sapphire Radeon RX 7900 XTX, but there was a bit of an issue, or a bit of an observation I've made really, if you want to use a card like this that uses 3 PCIe power connectors and the Phanteks NextLink hub, which I've used in the build and connected all the fans up to it. The problem is, power supplies nowadays that come with 12-volt high power, they are restricted to a certain amount of PCIe connections and cables that come with them, and the Seasonic Focus unit, it only comes with 3 PCIe cables. The graphics card needs 3 PCIe cables. The NextLink hub also needs a PCIe power cable, so there wasn't enough to run the graphics card and the NextLink hub, so I ended up swapping out the graphics card for the Gigabyte Radeon RX 7900 XT gaming OC. So it's just something to keep in mind if you're thinking of running a graphics card with 3 PCIe power connectors and the NextLink hub. Make sure that your power supply has enough PCIe connectors. Memory is 64GB of G-Skill Trident Z RGB DDR5 6400. For storage, it's a 2TB Patriot Viper VP 4300 PCIe Gen 4 by 4 NVMe M.2 SSD. CPU cooler is the Phanteks Glacier 1 360 M25 G2 360mm AIO liquid cooler. Power supply is a Seasonic Focus GX1000 ATX3, 80 Plus Gold, ATX 3.1 and PCIe 5.1 ready. The case fans are the stock M25 140 G2s, 3 in the front, 1 in the rear as an exhaust. Also for testing, I added 3 M25 120 G2s. They're the reverse blade ones, so they're as intakes, adding some cool air directly to the GPU. I tested the case with those installed and without them, so just in the default configuration with the stock fans.
As a world-leading manufacturer, CyberPower PC UK expertly builds each PC with the largest range of parts available in the UK. We handle all your packages with care and ship them directly to you on next day delivery. Visit cyberpowersystem.co.uk.
There's a few things to mention about the case and installation, but first let's look at the thermal performance. If you want to check out the full testing methodology, there's a written review page over at kitguru.net. All the testing methodology is on there. For the thermal load, it's a combined Cinebench R23 and 3D Mark Speedway stress test run simultaneously for 30 minutes. We tested the case with a 360mm AIO installed in the top and using the stock M25 140 G2 fans in the default locations, with and without mid-plate fans and with panels removed to see what effect it has on thermal performance. With the G400A in its default configuration without any mid-plate fans installed, both the CPU and GPU thermals are as expected for this hardware configuration at 61 and 40 degrees over ambient. So the default configuration is working okay without any mid-plate intake fans. Adding 320mm intake fans to the mid-plate lowers CPU temperature by 2 degrees C, but GPU temperature is basically the same. However, removing the side glass panel or the front panel and the dust filter doesn't have much of an effect on either the CPU or GPU temperature, so cooling out of the box with the 340mm M25 G2 fans is working very well, and the front panel with filter isn't too restrictive at all. Noise output of the G400A is at its lowest with the case in its default configuration with no mid-plate fans installed. There is a minor increase in noise by adding the 3 mid-plate fans and when removing the side panel and front panel, but overall the system runs quiet due to the excellent cooling. The GPU fans are always running at a relatively low speed, keeping noise down. Some of the things that I noted during the installation: so the 360mm radiator at the top of the case, it is a bit tight and a bit awkward getting in there. You have to kind of angle it up into position, but once it is installed, there's plenty of space around the top of the motherboard, so if you need to connect it up, EPS cables, fan cables, etc. up there, and you're only running fans on one side of the radiator, not push-pull, there's plenty of space up there, which is good. And also you can remove this top panel if you need to gain access or create a bit more space for anything while installing, but there's a lot of screws to remove and it's not really a very user-friendly process. That could have been made a bit more simple. I noticed the cable for the 2 Type A ports on the front. That's a bit short. If you've got a header that's at the bottom of the motherboard, it's quite tight routing that cable down there to connect up. If it's a side connector, it's not too bad. That could have done with being a little longer. One thing that this case lacks is a GPU support bracket or an anti-sag bracket. Both of these cards, when installed, had quite a bit of sag. It would have been nice to have that integrated into the case. A lot of case manufacturers are doing this now. It is a useful feature, but there isn't one in this case, which I feel is a bit of a shame. And the only other thing is the right-hand side panel. It's one of those that you have to kind of hold at the top and the bottom and slide it in at the same time. It's quite awkward, especially if you've got some cables bunched up there that are quite tight up to that side panel. I thought these kind of side panels were a thing of the past, but it seems Phanteks is still using this design on their lower kind of budget cases, and it is really quite awkward installing that side panel once you've got cables in there and the system built up. I'd like to have seen the design of that being a little better and a little easier. As I say, it is really quite awkward, that. But other than that, It is a good case to build a system in. Build quality for the rest of the case is really good. Alignment of all the motherboard standoffs, the PCIe slots, radiator and fan mounts, everything like that are all absolutely spot on. It's got excellent out of the box cooling with the included M25 140 G2 fans. And if you install the AIO, some additional fans and this Nextlink hub, it all integrates really well. It's actually good to purchase all these together. Everything connects up to this hub, can be controlled by the software. The software seems okay to use. It's one of the better pieces of software out there, and it all just integrates well with each other. It's definitely worth thinking about buying these. If you're thinking about buying this case, buying all the AIO, the fans, the case, the hub as a package. Cable management in this right hand side is good. That plastic channel is perfect for routing all cables down there, and there's some cutouts in that plastic channel and they work well for feeding cables through into this side of the case. So cable management is decent. $84.99 in the UK with good build quality. The amount of fans you get with it seems to be really well priced. It is a well built case. The only negatives or cons, so to speak, radiator installation is quite limited. You can only install at the top. There's no front radiator installation. As I say, that USB cable is a bit short. So that right hand side panel installation is a bit awkward, but other than those minor negatives, it's a good budget case. So that's the Phanteks Eclipse G400A. Let me know what you think of the case in the comments section. If you've enjoyed watching this review, don't forget to give it a thumbs up. Hit the subscribe button if you're not already subscribed to Kit Guru. If you enjoy what we do here at Kit Guru and you want to help support us, you could always head over to the store, pick up some merch, or you could even subscribe to our Patreon. And as always, if you want to catch up on all the in-depth technical reviews, head over to the website.